Hey up and welcome to Callum's Corner, a football special. So we'll be rounding up the games so far this weekend and talking about how it's all gone. So let's start with Friday night's game. What a result for Liverpool. 2-1, they beat Chelsea. Liverpool are looking more and more cohesive, I would say, under Jurgen Klopp. He's got them playing his style of football. Their attacking trio that they play behind the main striker is always strong now. We've got Sadio Mane, who's been signing of the season so far. There's Firmino, whether he's playing as a false nine or whether he's playing behind the striker. Coutinho, player who has got better and better and is now really his top draw. And also you've got the talent of people like Sturridge and Origi as well off the bench, who has got boundless energy. And they've also got Danny Ings as well to come in, who I did rate at Burnley. So I think Liverpool are looking really strong now this season. They've just got to get that consistency. They, for me, are still a world-class central midfielder and most definitely a left-back, short of being a title challenger, but they will be amongst the top four. Chelsea, that's a very disappointing result for them. The last couple of results haven't been great. I think you can see they're paying a price for not getting their first choice central defenders in through the door. David Luiz obviously is a club hero, but he is not a world-class defender at defending anyway. If they'd got their boy in from Juventus that they wanted, Bonucci, it may be a very different story. But with John Terry on the wan now, I think their central defence is going to let them down this season, which is a shame. So they've got some incredible attacking talent, and they've also brought in Conte as well from Leicester, who is a great player. But I don't think they are going to win the league this year, man. Chelsea, I think they're just a tiny bit short in defence. It's a shame for them. Anyway, let's move on to the Hull Arsenal result. 4-1 for Arsenal, quite comfortable in the end. Arsenal should be winning these types of games. A few years ago you would say they sometimes slipped up against the bottom teams, but for the last couple of years they have been kind of flat track bullies. Arsenal are a funny one, aren't they? I'm endlessly frustrated with Arsene Wenger, to be honest with you. He had Sanchez playing at striker against Hull, and it worked because Hull aren't a top team, and Sanchez got a couple of goals, but he's much better playing as an attacking midfielder, cutting in, shooting early. It's where he has most of his success, and his pace is kind of more deadly coming from those types of positions. I think Arsenal, I'm really disappointed he didn't sign a top striker. I've been saying this since Higuain. He should have signed Higuain for, 35 million he bulked out when he went to Napoli, and now Higuain's gone for 70-80 million to Juventus. The money in the bank is no good to Arsene Wenger now, and he needs to realise that, because the inflation on players is going up way more than the inflation on the money. He just needs to sign the players. If they had a world-class striker, Arsenal, with the other buys they have made this year, Xhaka I like a lot. He looks great, and once he settles in he'll be brilliant. And there's El Neni as well to come in. He looked really solid at times last year. And their new central defender as well, the German boy Mustafi, I don't know how you pronounce it, but he looks really good alongside Koscielny. That's a class central defensive pairing, and they've got the goalkeeper as well. If they'd signed a striker, I would say they would be really battling for the title this year. As it is, I think they will make a gesture at it, but I don't think they will seriously trouble probably Man City, who will be the eventual winners. And if that is the case, I think it really is time to ask questions about Arsene Wenger's future. I think he should go at that point. Hull still doing really well, I'd say, for them. Obviously, there's been huge upheaval in that club over the summer. Really poor way to start a season. Reminds me a lot of the Venky's at Blackburn Rovers. I think it is going to be relegation for Hull, but they've been putting up a fight so far this season, and Mike Phelan should be given the job at a decent wage because he's done better than expected, let's be honest with you. So we then move on to Leicester, who beat Burnley 3-0. Obviously, hands up, I'm a Blackburn Rovers fan, so I did take a bit of pleasure in seeing Burnley lose 3-0. But Leicester looked really good. Their new striker looked great, he looked powerful. Obviously, the talent they've got now in those attacking positions, you've got Jamie Vardy, full of pace. You've got Muscle, whatever his name is, full of pace. And you've got their new boy Salami, who is a brilliant forward, out-and-out striker. They have got so much talent there, and it's not even including Mahrez as well. They have got attacking talent to spare. I think they should have strengthened more in defence. I mean, Wes Morgan, good honest player. Danny Simpson, good honest players. Robert Huth holds it all together. But they could have done with a real class central defender coming in there. I think possibly another full-back as well. It remains to be seen whether Kante has been replaced or not. He is a big, big loss for them. Burnley, I'm sorry, as I say, I'm a Blackburn Rovers fan, but I'm taking that hat off and putting on my football pundit hat for this one. You're going to go down. You are going to go down, I'm afraid. Just sheer size of the other clubs in the league and expenditure and stuff. I mean, you bought Delfor in, the Belgian international, that's a good signing, but you're still 4 Premier League quality players short of being in with a shout of staying up, I'd say. Although, you know, hands up, I would have said that about Bournemouth last year as well. But I do think, I think Burnley are going to go down. I'm sorry to say, financial restraints will show. So we move on. I'm just checking on my phone what the update was. Man United are still losing to Watford, which is exciting, but we'll come on to that. So let's move on to Man City Bournemouth. So Bournemouth got a hide-in. I don't think you're going to be the first team to get a hide-in, if I'm honest with you, at Man City this year. They look a different class to anyone else in this league. And this is without Aguero being in the team at the moment. Guardiola's got them playing some magical stuff. And I tell you what, if De Bruyne stays fit this year, they will win the league. He is a cut above. He is like Ozil, but with more of an end product. He is creating just as many goals as him, and he's scoring as well. He seems to glide across the pitch. He's a truly classy player. And I think it's probably one of the biggest blots on Mourinho's copybook that he let him go from Chelsea. I mean, they must all be kicking themselves, the Chelsea hierarchy and the fans. You know, if they'd known that Mourinho was going to bugger off, they would have done everything to keep hold of De Bruyne. He is really, really such an impressive player. He's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Could be player of the year this year, I think. He's just ready to join that top tier now, where there's maybe 5-6 players in the world in that top tier. People like, obviously Messi, Ronaldo, the French boy up front for Atletico Madrid. Who else is there in that top tier at the moment? Müller at Bayern Munich, obviously, and occasionally Ozil on his day. Rooney used to be there, but he is no longer there. Aguero, people like that, and I think De Bruyne he's going to be at home in that company for a few years. So, next result. Now, this was a really big one. This is West Brom versus West Ham, 4-2 to West Brom. I mean, that speaks massive volumes at just how poor West Ham were. I mean, West Brom do not score a lot of goals. Obviously, they've got new impetus now with Chaidi up there. And they did look good, but West Ham, what is going on? The move to the new Olympic Stadium, this could actually turn into a crisis for them. I'm not talking relegation. I don't think they will go down or anything. But really, with the squad they've got, the players they've brought in, the capacity they've got now, they should be sniffing around the Champions League positions. And at the moment, they're looking like a lower mid-table team. Bilic needs to get a hold of this very quickly. I don't know whether it's psychological because they've moved stadiums, because they had such a good year last year. But yeah, and defensively, they look all over the shop. Absolutely all over the shop. And that's not an area they really strengthened. They were worried about bringing in another striker in case Carroll got injured and stuff. But actually, defensively, they look so poor. They did. Their midfield, I mean, it just looks like they were 5 minutes later than the West Brom players. Arriving after them, weren't winning the second balls. Really poor. Gives West Brom fans hope. It's been a bit of a dire few months at the club for them. Tony Pulis is doing his act again, same as he did at Crystal Palace. He hasn't quite got his way with the signings, and I can understand his frustration. They did need to bring more players in. He really has been starved of investment there, but he's kind of threatening to quit, I think the rumours were. But they've got a few decent players in, and they we'll have to tide them over to the transfer window. A few more results like this, get a bit of buzz going maybe. and bring in a couple more players in the transfer window, hopefully, when they should have some more money when now the takeover's gone through. Although I'm hearing rumours that they want to run the club under the Jeremy Pearce model, which would just be a nightmare for West Brom fans. He has been a constant thorn in their side. Jeremy Pearce must be such a frustrating chairman. Although they've got John Williams in now, who I cannot speak highly enough of. He was fantastic as Blackburn Rovers chairman. You know, managers have given interviews saying the reason they joined Blackburn Rovers or wanted to join the club was purely because of John Williams and what a great chairman he was. The club's in good hands with him. And the other result we have is Everton beating Middlesbrough 3-1. Now Middlesbrough have come up and I think they've done alright, to be honest with you. You can't be complaining. I think they've got a good chance of staying up. They've invested well. They've brought in some good players, especially that midfielder from Atlanta. Negredo has got a lot resting on him. I mean, I know they paid big money for Jordan Rhodes from us last year, but I think Jordan Rhodes, I've always thought this, he lacks the pace to be a top, to be a Premier League striker, a good one. He's just a little bit too kind of slow, and he can't really, his hold-up play isn't good enough on his own up front, and the modern system, especially on the Karanka at Middlesbrough, they want one up front with the three behind. He's very rigid in that, so I don't think we'll see a lot from Jordan Rhodes this year. So Negredo, it really is going to be key. But Everton, what a start they have had, and I think it's justified. Do you know what I mean? I think the last couple of years they should have been doing much better. They've got such a good, strong squad of players, and now they've got the organisation under Koeman. I think they're going to do really well this year, top 4. And he's hoping that Man United lose today. No, only joking, but I do like Watford. Right, my nieces are here, so I've got to go.